All right, here we go. Is our next show. We're here back here. What Up Sports? Rob at robleroy.com. Check us out. I'll teach you how to build a digital download business for yourself. Get yourself out of the rat race, do better things, free yourself up for great things. And you can use that money at paratravelers.net, PERA travelers.net, where you can go take amazing vacations with the money that I just taught you to make.
I like it.
Check that out. Anyways, this one's really fun because it kind of finished, it got the idea of our last show where we finished on there and then talked about like where you really are going to get your best bang for your buck now in sports. Because we just talked about how they're trying to make all these changes to like Major League Baseball and NFL and all stuff. And that ticket has gotten so expensive. I looked at going to an NFL football game 2 years ago. I went to Monday night with the Rams, and it was $110 per ticket, and okay seats, right? San Francisco or Santa Clara, whatever you. It's not San Francisco anymore. It's Santa Clara. They're down there, 49ers, and it wasn't even Monday Night Football. It was just a regular game, and those tickets now are $290 a piece. Not worth it. I'll watch it at home. Now you have to find out where the game is. It might be on the streaming thing of Peacock. It might be on who knows some Indian TV somewhere. Who knows where you're going to find these things now? It's all over the place. So it's hard to find. The NFL's just spread themselves out on all over these things. And sometimes you can't even watch it.
Yeah.
Baseball, same thing. It's so fast to go to a game. Is it worth even going to the game? So I went to a local hockey thing. That's kind of where we end up our last show and had the time of my life to the point where I would get season tickets next year. I can't even get them now this year. I will get season tickets for this hockey because it's so fun. Everyday guys that are they're blue collar guys, but they play really good hockey. Their fights, they're having good times. The action's incredible. I went to Tahoe. They have a what would be called like the double A of hockey. It's the ECHL
Oh,
hockey
cool.
for the was it Phoenix Coyote? No, for the Golden Knights, for the Vegas Golden Knights. They're a lower
Really?
level, and they were really good. And they got this cool stadium right there at the state line and all that where Harrah's and all that stuff is. It's really cool. So those times and those tickets are so much more fun. And the crowds, the places are packed. They're with people. People are so into it. They've got the jerseys. You got the players, the low level things. They got the jerseys for them and all that. So they're having a great time. But our discussion of the show is, where do you like to go spend your time? You would love to go to the NFL, but is it better now to go watch a junior college football game? Or I've got University of Nevada Arena. You've got Sac State. Sac State football games are so much fun to go to.
They are.
Way much. They're so much more fun than going to an NFL game. The crowds
Oh,
are better. The game is better. I know we have NIL, but it's still at a level where they're not like the Texases and the Oregons where they've gotten a little bit more prima donna. And like, get out and go enjoy sports. The high school football games. I mean, Sacramento area is incredible alone. I mean, there's always a state champion somewhere that comes out of Sacramento,
oh
right?
yeah.
Let's talk 12 Bridges. I know there's some people that are going to watch us that are parents from 12 Bridges High School who just ran the table. They're the number one seed in Northern California right now. I don't know who stops this team.
I don't know either.
They're
They're,
they're unbelievable what they're doing right now, and they're brand new high school, and they just won a section title.
this was only their third year in varsity.
Third varsity year, and they just won a section title, number one seed in Northern California. And I think they could literally go to a state championship. I mean, this
Nope.
is
They
phenomenal.
played Wilcox coming up, if I'm not mistaken.
And that's at home there in Lincoln,
Yeah.
great town, two high schools. That's the ticket to get. They got to be sold out by now. But is that a better ticket than going to an NFL game? I think is what I'm saying. I went off a little bit to get to that point, but wouldn't that be more exciting? The crowds are more exciting. It's more pure. There's a lot more going on with that. You're watching kids that are playing it for the love of the game. But are there other sports? And chime in here. What are things that people are missing? I want to bring it up this for you because, and you can talk about it, is softball. High school softball is pretty impressive, but you don't get crowds.
No.
What are they missing? Like, is it better to go see a softball game at a high school than going to, a San Francisco Giants game?
Well, you're asking the wrong person about that one because I would say
I just go for it though.
absolutely. honestly, if you guys haven't had the opportunity to go see some of the good softball teams in your area, high school, JC, or college, you're missing out. You're going to see some phenomenal athletes. I had the privilege of seeing some phenomenal athletes, working with some phenomenal athletes, interviewing some phenomenal athletes. I mean, we talked to the NAIA All-American MVP two years in a row, or two-time All-American NAIA MVP, the NAIA World Series MVP, so and two-time national champion Riley
Oh,
Donovan.
yeah.
And I had the privilege of coaching her when she was at the College of San Mateo. And let me tell you, she is one of the most phenomenal people I have ever met in my life, and you guys would love it if you guys had the opportunity to go and watch her play, either at College of San Mateo or at Southern Oregon University. To me, if you have the opportunity to see those type of ball players, you got to go check them out. Not only just to watch them play and see their mindset, but to also just feel the energy that they bring to you and the fans. And you're supporting something great. These young women that are playing some great ball. I mean, we have another one that you and I interviewed, Sydney Barker. She's at Oklahoma.
One recruit for Oklahoma softball, two-time national championships in a row here. Softball team, second base, shortstop or second? I thought she was
She's
second.
shortstop.
Shortstop.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
she just hit her first fall ball home run, and it was a laser to right center field, by the way. But I mean, go check it out, regardless if it's D1, D2, D3, NAIA, JC softball. Go check it out. And if you got a decent, I mean, and I'm saying not great, not good, but decent softball team near you, go check it out. It's cheap.
Yeah. And let's talk about that because the value. I'm in sales. I'm all about value to what you're going to spend, right? Like, are you going to get something great for what you do? You can go to a softball game, you can go to a basketball game. I mean, we've interviewed some of these kids that have come through. We got kids that are Division I players now that we interviewed when they were in high school. So you just
Yeah.
talked about Sydney Barker. We can talk about Harper Peterson, who's a freshman now at Stanford women's
Yeah.
basketball, and or Bella Bergmark, who was two-time national champion at Texas.
She's
And
playing in Puerto Rico right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Portugal. She just went from Puerto Rico to Portugal in the pro leagues. And the thought process is okay, we've interviewed famous people with Jeff Garcia's, the Ken Shamrocks, we've interviewed some pretty impressive ex-pro football players and baseball players and stuff like that. Coaches. The high school and college kids' mindsets are, and the ones that are very successful, anybody can take through life.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable things that they can teach you. If you get a chance to go back, find Sydney Barker, Harper Peterson interviews, go listen to what we're talking about, the NAIA national champions, their mindsets on what they do, Bella Bergmark, those kind of things are so incredible. And so what goes back to what we were really talking about is the value for your money. Where do you spend your money to go to? JCs are filled with them. These are kids that just needed to grow a little bit, and then they become the brand. Well, Ayuk is a prima donna, a $30 million prima donna now, but this kid went to Sierra College first before he went to Arizona State. There's a ton of incredible talent at these JCs, and it's good football. These JCs softball, these JCs baseball. There's some talent in there, and these kids are so driven to move to the next level. You're watching kids that are hustling. You're watching kids that are giving their all. That's where I want to spend my money. That's why I would rather go to a hockey thing of guys that go and work all day at Tesla, and then they go and play hockey. And they go play against the Chicago team of guys that go work at the pizza factory in Chicago and make, incredible pizza. And then they go play hockey and fly out to Reno and, get in a fight and have a great time. But what I'm saying is that for the amount of money you have to spend to go to a baseball game or a football game and all that stuff, which is great. And I used to do that all the time. I'll even say it used to be like music, right? Back in our days, we're going to date ourselves. 80s, right? Maybe even a little in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever pay more than $20 to go and see a concert?
No.
You could walk up right to the stage, general admission. You're having a great time with people. You're singing, laughing, dancing, moshing, whatever it may be. Same thing with sports. Now to go to a concert, oh my,
Arm, leg,
get into the nose
left
in the
testicle.
hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And it's why? So why not? I would rather go to a local club of an up and coming band
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and go experience that. Same thing with the sports. So that's where I'm kind of going with it is my value dollar needs to start going to the people who really care, not the
Mhm.
people that are give me money, and I'm going to give you less. That was
Yeah.
our yeah. Really talking about people giving you less for your money for a professional sport where you got people that are prima donnas and we've had brawls and they all don't really care about the sport anymore. Where I want to spend my money where it counts. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I agree. I really do. And, you know, going back, because this is a part two of our last show, and going back to that, you know, getting your bang for your buck. I mean, it started off as does the 20-second clock help or hinder pitchers? And we kind of went off on a tangent on this, but this is where I'm going to go with this. And do you want to see a player that's been injured 18 times and is going to pitch a quarter of an inning? Or do you want to see this young kid that's about ready to go up and throw a no-no? And Rob would ruin it because he'd say the kid's throwing a no-no after one pitch. But that's a different story. But, you know, how many times do these guys have to be put on the IR, on the IL, whatever you want to call it? And I don't know. And let's go see a 12-second baseball game and pay 400 bucks.
That's
Oh,
where
and that's
that's
just for
kind of been
food,
a
by
theme
the
over
way.
a couple of shows now.
Yeah.
I'm starting to not want to go that. Uh, I'm a 49er fan. I'm so frustrated. I actually used to run my schedule because I have to work weekends and stuff too. And I would run my schedule around when the Niners play. I don't run it around when the Niners play anymore. I don't care. I'm
Yeah.
like, they suck. I don't want to watch it. I'll just go to work.
Well, they don't suck. They just have had some unfortunate events happen. You know,
Yeah,
let me.
they don't suck. They're absolutely atrocious, is what it is.
Okay.
But my real true belief is that okay. So I was 357 pounds. I'm down to 272. My diabetes was insane and all that stuff. So I'm just talking about real quick personal. But in reality, is where do I really want to spend my time and my money? And so it's become I got a paddleboard. I went out and paddleboard. I'm out in nature. I'm out skiing and all that stuff. But I still love sports. Where's my value going to be? My value is actually going to be local. And I'm going to support my local community. I'm going to support my local athlete and my local sports around us because they actually care. They actually give a damn about sports. And I think where we were talking and over some of these shows, which is kind of leading into this, it's kind of pissed off at pro sports, is that
Yeah.
they're more for less. You just said that.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of fed up with it. Like I could care less now. I care about Johnny down here who's, getting looked at by some teams that may get drafted and he's showing up every single game. I want to go watch that. That's way better than what I'm seeing put out there on TV.
My favorite was when I was scouting was, okay, is this kid as legit as they say? You know, because sometimes you see some ball players and you're just like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
And sometimes you see him and you're like, whoa, he's a lot better than what people are saying.
Yeah. But they care. I
Yeah.
mean, I've watched, let's say, Whitney girls basketball team and won, the whole Northern California at the, Sacramento Kings Arena. And from Harper Peterson, who's at Stanford now, to the
Yep.
last girl on the bench, they were all important on that team.
They were.
To the end of the bench, and
Yep.
how they worked as a team and how each one's role. And even if the bench player, they were involved and they were supportive of the team. And I want to see that. I want to see that any day of the week over what I'm seeing right now. And this show is ending our month of December with where we started, the Brawl weekend. And
Yes.
it's just kind of like, I think we're kind of not, we're boxing it up. We're going to talk about more later, but it boxes up this month of our shows where we're really going to talk about the fact that we're losing the greatness of sports at the upper levels. And I
Yeah.
kind of want to know if how people feel about the same way. Are you there? Have we opened up your eyes to maybe there's a better thing you can go see? You can go see it live in front of you, right at the high school nearby, or the junior college nearby, or even the lower level college team that's nearby you. That these kids would love to have people support them.
Oh
And
yeah.
they're incredible, and they have to study and they have to play sports and all that stuff and everything. But
Not like D1 where they don't have to. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
want to go watch Harper Peterson play. I got to watch her in high school. I've known her. I've talked to her. I've interviewed her. I can't wait to see her. I can't wait to see Sydney Barker play live playing for Oklahoma. I can't wait. There's so many of these athletes. Bobby Pyland out at Utah. I want to go
Right, he
watch him.
transferred
Next
to.
year he should be getting some playing time. And there's so many of these incredible kids and players. But let's talk about some of these race car drivers that I'm watching coming up. Roseville's All American Track, and they're wanting to come up and they care about driving and they want to be a part of the sport. And then I've covered NASCAR and I've interviewed NASCAR guys, and it's all about sponsors. They don't even have to be a great driver.
Mm-mm.
It's who's got the money to make them a better driver rather than the people that are working on the skills to be the driver. It seems to be the way that NASCAR's losing people, football's losing people, baseball's losing people, they got this weird tournament in the middle of a season. Is that
Yeah.
hindering or helping? So all these things that these shows of December have been are accumulating into where this last one is about is like, what do you guys think out there who's watching? What do you guys believe? Or am I crazy? Am I way off my rocker and thinking that I just would rather go focus on what's local rather than big now? Like it's all fantasy football now, and that's kind of been interesting. Whether it takes away or adds to the game, or I guess it's because
Yeah.
it sucks this year because I couldn't figure out all the injuries. But anyway, what do
Uh,
people think?
Tell
Chris,
me
what's
about
your thought on that? Like, where do you feel where we're going in this?
it. You just brought up like 17 topics that we could discuss. I mean, let's talk just NBA, the fall of the NBA, the fall of the NASCAR. You know, it amazes me how these sports were at the top of their game, the pinnacle, and they have just taken a nosedive. They're in Acapulco nosediving because they just think they're God's gift to everything right now. And, you know, it truly doesn't feel like they're in it for the fans anymore. And I think that's the big thing. Now, there's also the big debates that go on out there. You know, who's better than Dale Earnhardt? So on and so forth. People are still talking about that. I heard a guy talking about that. Well, nobody will ever beat Dale Earnhardt. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. He's no longer around, huh? But anyway, that's a different story. What about the LeBron and MJ? I mean, but two different eras, and
Different sport, whether you could hand check, you couldn't hand check, getting
yeah.
slammed to the ground, you're not getting touched down. You get
Oh yeah.
a little scratch on your head and you're falling down like you die. I mean, there's all this crazy stuff, right?
The
But
Lambert clothesline.
could you imagine LeBron trying to go through that Detroit Pistons team
Oh my God.
and having to play in that era?
He would be dead.
There's no GOAT on that. There's no king.
No.
Yeah,
Jellyfish? Yeah, absolutely.
it's a different game. Anyways, I think hopefully we got our point across. Hopefully people want to chime in. Some people may be so into pro football still, and they have that view where I guess I'm 50 years old now. I've seen so much and so much change in the sport that I'm kind of tired of the crap.
Yeah.
I quit covering NASCAR because it's even dealing with the organizations and the tracks now isn't
Hold
even
on. Hold on. Did I just hear that? You, of all people that I know, one of the biggest NASCAR fans that I've ever met is not covering NASCAR anymore?
Yep, absolutely. In fact, I won't get into it, but it is. I don't know if they're trying to save themselves or not, but they're not. They're not even appreciative of the people that come out to try to help support them. And so not only the fans, but also the people that are maybe the smaller media, they're catering to the big media and they're just pushing us out. And so at that point, it's just like, it's time to go. You don't want us here. I don't want to be here. I'm not going to come anymore.
And you
So,
have season tickets and all that stuff
well,
too
I've got
over
tickets to Sonoma Raceway, but
that.
the ultimate thing is that I think all pro sports are struggling and they're all looking for gimmicks, and they're gimmicks. I mean, I just mentioned quickly, it was the NBA's tournament, which is the biggest joke in the world. I don't even get that.
Yeah.
Baseball's going to do a golden batter. Um, football's doing a kickoff. That's probably one of the best things that I've actually seen, things like that. But everybody's looking for some kind of gimmick, but they're also, the cost is just so dumb. And you can do it so much better right around where you are. I'd love to see every single high school packed and sold out every single game. You know what? Those kids, man, those softball kids, could you imagine if people showed up for them? If they had crowds?
Oh God, that'd be
You don't
crazy.
crowds, right?
No, they
Basketball
don't.
fun, sometimes good, sometimes bad. What if you showed up to a women's basketball and packed the house? Could you
Yeah.
imagine how those girls would feel? Soccer matches in the high schools, if those stadiums were packed, that let's start doing that. Let's figure out ways to create that. Let's get groups of people together and start showing up for these kids, for these people that are passionate, these people that are giving it their all at these lower levels. Why? Because they love the sport. My daughter's on a travel team. She's a junior. She's on JV. She just loves the sport. That's all that matters. And that's the important thing. Your daughters were softball players. They
Oh yeah.
love the sport. They probably still love the sport. And so I'd like to see more of us join together, not just the footballs,
Yeah.
not just the basketballs. Show up for something else. If you've seen some of the wrestling that's going on now, the girls wrestling, oh my gosh, that's like now going to be an Olympic sport now. Like, I mean, I can't believe that. What was it? Dancing, that girl that danced, that was an Olympic sport before women's wrestling was. But the reality is this: there's places for these women can go. Wrestling is unbelievable. We interviewed a state champion wrestler from Whitney High School. They're
That's right.
lining up a new one. Alex Mayday, who's a senior next year. She's the #1 ranked wrestler in California right now. I think she's number 4 or 5 in the nation.
Wow.
Go watch her. Go support that. Oh my gosh, you could be watching the next Olympian that you're going to watch on TV.
That'd
Like,
be cool.
and be like right there, and she'd appreciate you showing up. You may even be able to get to know who she is. She's incredible.
Yeah, and it's only like
That's why I'm starting to talk.
and it's only like $8, $10 to go. And you're
And
supporting.
what does that $8 do? Supports that school,
Yep.
right? Shoot, it's a nonprofit anyway. So figure out what their nonprofit thing, write it off. Go and support these kids. Go. I don't even know if you can write it off, but I just,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
get
a
you.
tax person. I'm not a tax person. But the reality is that dollar, that $8 goes so much further than your money that's going to this prima donnas that, couldn't do anything on the field and then get injured and they're out for the year for $30 million a year.
Yeah. Anyway, we would absolutely love it if you guys commented, subscribed, liked, shared all of our videos. Why not?
Yep.
Just because you
And we
can.
want you on the show. We're actually hoping that people want to join us and talk about these topics.
Yeah.
Tell us we're stupid. Tell us whatever you want, that we're out of our rock. I don't care. We're just here having a good time, talking about topics that I don't necessarily know if people really get into, but we wanted to get a little bit on the off topic. Don't forget the Hall of Fame. If you missed that show, go check it out. We want you on there. We want you a part of that. We're creating the What Up Sports Hall of Fame. We just scratched the itty-bitty surface in that show. Check out, we talked about some names: Sydney Barker, Bobby Pyland, Harper Peterson, like we've got a bunch of shows that are on this
Not
channels
about O'Haron.
from way back. Oh gosh, baseball players, softball player, like incredible Bella Bergmark. Go watch that. We got Jeff Garcia. We've got Ken Shamrock. We
Yeah.
like
Ryan Donovan.
oh my gosh, there's incredible people, coaches that
Oh
are in
yeah.
the college ranks that are incredible. What they're looking for in kids. Some of the parents, you might want to listen to some of these shows. So go check it out. We're back. We're having a good time. We want you to be a part of it. We keep going longer than we should, but it's because we're Rob and Chris. We're what up sport.
Uh,
Just gonna go outside the rules sometimes. We love you guys. Our next show will be next year, January. So we'll
See you next year.
and thank you for joining us again.
Definitely. Definitely. Thank you. Thank you. And have a good new year. Be safe. Wow.